heart, and she got in my head that life is a drag and I'm better off dead. And when I reach out, no one's there. Every time I break down, oh, she don't care. Just wanna make out and be alone. Oh, young love, you want love is all you get from me.
Hey, what's happening? We're here with the Oh Buddy Music Show, and today we have Eli Wulfmeier of Leroy from the North. How's it going today?
Going really well. It's sunny out in LA and can't complain. The fires are gone. So
So you're from LA, that's where you're at?
yeah, grew up in Detroit, but I moved out to LA a while back and yeah, it's been today it's beautiful out, so can't complain.
So you weren't affected by any of that fire stuff or
We definitely had to pack up and we went out of town for a little bit, and so my dog and like the whole thing and everybody was just sort of out of here for 3 days.
I mean, that's crazy. I'd never seen anything like that. I mean, just the devastation was just unbelievable. So, yeah, I feel for those people, but man, everyone that's fortunate,
Yeah,
count your blessings.
exactly. Yeah.
So you're originally from Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
and then you
Yeah.
moved to LA. About when did that happen?
This was probably about 13 years ago. Yes,
13? Okay.
yeah, still pretty rooted here. Yes.
And were you always a musical kid, or
Yeah.
how did you kind of just starting early?
Yeah, I played a lot of hockey growing up, and then I also played guitar starting when I was probably about 7 or so. And yeah, we were just playing around in bars in Detroit and stuff when I was in high school, and then moved to California just to do all of this. So
Chase the dream.
get out here, yeah.
But you know what, though, man? From talking to you and everything, you're so California, man.
I feel like it,
Yeah,
So.
it suits you. But so when you moved out to LA, where did you go from there? I mean,
I was everywhere. When I first moved out here, it was scary because I didn't know anybody, and you sort of you figure it out. You kind of go to, I would go to like the Sunset Strip and see like, bands play at the Whiskey and the Viper
whiskey,
Room, all that stuff.
Rainbow, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, I still love going to the Rainbow, but I was doing that, and then eventually got into, there was an artist named Katie Rose that I played with, and she was great. She was really young at the time, and we did a lot of, almost had this sort of like a pop punk sort of a thing. And, but she was traveling quite a bit. And so we got to, do a lot of cool shows and a lot of, see how like the business was working. And then from there, just kind of, you jump from band to band and all that. So.
So a notable appearance, I would say, would be with Dorothy, correct?
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah. And so how, from what I did on my research, it looked like you played on 2 of her albums.
Well, there was a record that was done before. There was she had her first record, which did really well, and it's really cool. And then she was produced by Linda Perry and managed by her for a second. And then,
Okay.
and so we did that record, and it was called 28 Days in the Valley. And then toured off of that. And then we just, while we were touring stuff, we would kind of write, jam, and whatever. And so I think on the next record that was happening, it was I believe a whole new band with, but we had a song on there, which is cool.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say because that from 28 days to the next record, man, that was a big sound change.
Big time,
for her.
yeah, yeah. Because even the first one that she had before was almost a little bit different from 28 Days in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now it's a good Splash. It's pretty cool.
It was a good experience then.
It was awesome. I have Jason, our drummer, that I met him while we were playing with Dorothy. So we were touring like all the time together. And
Okay, so you've known each other a while then.
yeah, so that's been cool. I mean, she's awesome. She's a great singer. We had to do a different project just, because we're all writing and doing all that and thought it was time.
She's got a big voice, that's for sure.
She does. Yeah. She's really talented.
Yeah, now she's playing with Slash, and
I know she's playing in LA pretty soon. I think we're definitely all going to go see her and hang out.
that sounds like a good time.
Yeah.
So what kind of things did you like to listen to growing up? I mean, what was the stuff that kind of shaped your sound?
Growing up, my parents were always like, playing music all over the house. We had in Detroit, there was a really cool classic rock station, and they had their rock station was pretty cool as well. So I remember seeing my dad actually was friends with one of the guys in Bob Seger, and he had some family plays bass, and
Detroit royalty.
yeah, exactly. So that was the first concert I actually saw, and it was like, it was incredible. We got to go backstage and hang out, and like, after that, I think, I was like 5. So,
Oh man, so you were hooked in.
Totally different. But we listened to a lot of like Allman Brothers, and I was really into Steppenwolf and the Guess Who, and that kind of thing. I wish I could play more like that, but I always thought John Kay was one of the coolest guys going, and a lot of that sort of stuff. And I think in high school you start to get into bands like I guess what was happening, sort of like grungy stuff. A little bit. I was more like got into like a big Grateful Dead phase at one point. So yeah, I mean it's kind of all over the map. But yeah, definitely like Steppenwolf and Humble Pie and Free and all that stuff.
See, that's what. So when I, and forgive me if you think I'm not accurate at this, but I feel like your sound kind of gives me like SoCal 1979 vibes.
I mean, I will take it. I mean, I'm a huge James Gang and like Eagles. When you listen to the Eagles as an adult, it's a whole different thing. Like it's such a tight band. And so yeah, definitely feel like you absorb some of that California, 70s Painted Canyon kind of thing.
Right. That's totally the vibe I get from. I mean, just even like with your merch and everything, it just looks like you're having fun with it.
Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous, but we have fun with it.
So while you were playing with Dorothy, is that when you started the whole Leroy from the North deal?
Yeah.
Or
yeah. It was interesting. I was playing with a band called the Wild Feathers a long time ago. And it was cool. It was like this thing. I was an intern at Interscope, and they were putting together a band that they wanted to sound like the Eagles. So everybody had to sing. And I was just a guitar player. Like I didn't really it didn't dawn on me to start singing at all. So I just kind of faked it, but I was in there. And then we had a showcase for Jimmy Iovine, and so each person had to sing and like with the band. It was wild. So the first time I really sang for anybody was
really
for Iovine, which was the whole
you just
thing.
played before that, and that was it.
Yeah. And so, but then I realized that I was writing a lot, and it just was it just felt like the right time to start singing and
Yeah.
songs like out there. So while I was with Dorothy, I was the producer that we were working with, the Wild Feathers, this guy, Rob Schnapp, who's great. He's awesome. And so I'd go out, we tour, and then I'd try to come back, record a few more songs. And then it was this sort of long record, but it was just between tours. So it was kind of one of those things. Then the rest, just kind of went from there.
So it kind of just started as a project, basically, and then just kind of went its way, right?
Yeah, it was, part of the idea was that if people were on tour with other bands and stuff, like it wouldn't be like a beholden project. So like if somebody like, bass player needed to take off and tour, then that's fine. And then you can always come back and play and whatever. So it felt I wanted it to be like very low pressure.
I mean, and talk about going away and playing with other people. The first time I ever saw you were playing with Nikki Lane.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I remember you Leroy from the North opened the show, and it was good. I was like, man, I like this. This is great, And then when Nikki Lane comes on, I'm like, wait a minute, that's the guy,
Yeah. Did double duty.
I'm like,
Yeah.
damn, that's okay. That's a warrior right there. He's playing 2 sets.
Yeah,
You
she was really cool with us and letting us open up or I'll do like a solo thing and
know?
that was a really fun tour. She's awesome. I love her songs. Like we still every once in a while we'll get together and play and all that. And
Really?
yeah, she's really cool and it was really helpful to us. So I'll always be.
I'm not ashamed to say I'm a huge Nikki Lane fan.
Yeah.
I've seen her 3 times and 2 times was in the same week.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's the real deal.
Yeah, because she opened for Sierra at
Mhm.
the Ryman, and we went to that show, and then 2 days later she had a show at the Beast,
Oh
and
yeah.
yeah, we went to that. I was front row, and that my drink was sitting on the stage.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Yeah. That's
So
I wonder when that was. If was that during Americana Fest?
it was right after. It was in about I could look on my calendar. I think it was like March of last year.
Okay. Yeah.
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 So
She's awesome.
yeah, she's great. Um, but yeah, is there anyone else like that you've toured with?
After that, I did. I recorded with Kate Hudson, the actress, and we did a couple shows with her, like for promo and stuff. And she was really cool, and she can sing great. Like
Really?
yeah, a lot of people were like, I didn't know she could sing. Like she's really good. Yeah,
It didn't occur to me for sure.
yeah, it's definitely worth
So
checking out. She was great, or she is great.
yeah, but then you've just pretty much been focusing on Leroy stuff then.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
we have a record coming out soon. It's just getting, sort of we have it mastered. We just need to tweak a couple things, and artwork's already there and everything. So we're looking to put it out roughly like May. We're thinking just
Because I know you previewed some of the tunes there at the show at the Ryman that I saw you at there. It was Whitey Morgan,
yeah.
and
That band is awesome. Like yeah,
that was my third time seeing Whitey Morgan, and he's one of my wife's absolute favorites, and it just puts a great show on every time.
yeah,
I mean, solid band. It's amazing.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I love this guy.
Yeah, but I mean, you really fit in well with Whitey Morgan on that. I mean,
It felt
that
good. I
bill
mean,
because
yeah. That show. Also Adam, our bass player, will play with Whitey from time to time as well. So it's
really.
like, yeah, it's cool. Like they all know each other. Like I know each other very well.
Do you know Whitey very well at all?
You know,
Or
just over the last we've done some shows up in North Fork at his place. They have a place called Bandit Town.
yeah, let's say just sold.
Yeah, that's right. But it was really cool. Like they would have these events up there, and you could get a tent and hang out. Like it was fun. And so
My wife and I wanted to go to the birthday bash,
oh
and we
yeah,
were probably going to plan on going to the next one, but it
yeah,
ain't gonna happen there no more.
yeah. I think we played the last one actually.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, because I would see your name, Leroy from the North, pop up on like little festival bills and stuff, throughout the past, from when I was introduced to you in 22, to now. So yeah, they're fun shows, festival shows, but
Yeah,
man, they get draining after a while.
yeah. It's a lot of music and a lot of, especially if it's if it's raining. We definitely played a few where like, whoa, that was raining hard.
Or it's just 110 degrees.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, no
like,
shit.
yeah. Yeah. But so I want to backtrack a little bit and I want to talk about Rusty. How
Oh,
did
shit.
that happen?
So, my friend Garrett, we were, I guess this was a while back, but initially what was going to happen was I was just going to do the score for it, and he wanted something in like the vein of like when Neil Young, there's a Johnny Depp movie called Dead Man, and so it's just like this sort of ambient guitar thing that he just wanted like really simple and like he wanted to do like a No Country for Old Men kind of thing, and so it started off that way, and then it was just going to be a couple scenes, and then he's like, actually, let's have you in the movie, and so there was no script or anything, so we just went for it, and we were shooting in like Tucson, and did some stuff in Nashville and Montana, and a lot of that. But that, yeah, so did a full on score, and then actually was in the movie, which is funny.
And I thought it was funny that the character you play is Leroy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. It just rolled right into it.
Where did I'm gonna ask, where does Leroy where does that come from? Where does Leroy from the North, that name?
Well, my real name is Leroy, but I go by Eli.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, and so people will be like, "Are you from the South?" Like, because it sounds like Southern rock sometimes the music, and I'm from Michigan, so it just I'm like, oh, so it's so clear, Leroy from the North. So
Okay, all right.
yeah,
I didn't know. So yeah, so let's talk about touring a little bit. I've been reading a lot of stuff where artists today are expressing that they're actually losing money touring. Is that a reality for you as well,
uh,
or do you see a shrinking, amount of money out of that nowadays?
you know, yes, like we did a tour up and down, especially in the West Coast like area, just because everything is so spread out. And also, just the gas prices in California are expensive too. So,
Yeah.
it's you sort of have to factor all of that in, and then, but what does help is, I mean, merch sales. That's kind of the thing that keeps people afloat, and but that could also be if you have a bunch of merch and nobody's at the show, then you know.
Right.
And I do see that. I think that sometimes you'll go to shows and people are like, well, beer is really expensive. So they'll maybe just get one, or maybe they won't get a t-shirt, or they choose concerts selectively because they're like, I used to be able to go to 3 or 4. Now I have to go to like, 1 or 2 that I really want to go to. So I see a little bit of that, but these Whitey shows were inspiring just because people were out there having a good time, and so I still am hopeful on all this stuff.
I'm sure you probably did pretty well in the merch because that merch line was long.
It was that was a crazy one because it was also just the way they had it set up at the Ryman too
Yeah.
was
It's just kind of
different.
tucked away in that corner. And
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it was great, and I mean that's the stuff that like obviously keeps us coming back, and it's like people I think can be bummed about say low ticket sales or whatever it may be, but this is all I do, so I have to figure out a way to make it all work.
I mean, you're a working musician. You have to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because so here in Indy, I don't know have you ever played at Duke's in Indy?
We played, I forget the place that we played with Dorothy, so it would have been that size crowd, so probably like
Probably not Duke's then. It's a honky tonk.
yeah, there I forget the name of the place. It was fun though, like we had a blast. Like a hard rock bar, from what I remember.
I frequent Duke's quite a bit, and it's very small acts that come through for the most part, and those folks, their merch sales really matter to them, because they're really grinding it out, and I'll tell everybody I talk to, buy merch, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you're basically funding the next record is how I look at it, and if you like that song and you want to hear more, then you got to support these folks. They're just people like us. We got to eat and have a house.
yeah. I mean, it's true. It is helpful, and it's like I appreciate that all the time. Like it's nice just to see people with like your t-shirts or your lighters or your stickers. It's cool to see at the next show.
I always, even if it's maybe an act I don't like that much, I'll still buy a sticker or something, just to help people out. But that's the kind of person that I am, and music is a big thing for me. It's been a big part of my life, all the time, and especially now, becoming older, I find more peace in it than I used to, it's more helpful. Like, I've got songs that have healed me, so to speak,
Oh, I
just
know
by a
well.
line in a song, you kind of wake up and yeah, I get that, you know, and it's music is like a universal thing, you know. I mean, from primitive man to today, every culture has made music,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah. I couldn't agree more.
So I'm all about supporting, you know, acts and everything, and I think it's great. And I'll tell everybody out there, buy merch. Whenever you go to a show, buy merch.
Yeah. Yes.
So have you sifted through the detritus of all the Grammy stuff, or
You
did you
know,
watch that? Or
I was out with some friends last night at dinner, and so it caught like a couple, a couple of the key moments. But like Kanye's, uh, I guess his girl or his wife or whatever, like she looks in
yeah,
scandal, and then and some of the takeaways too. I mean, I guess Sierra Farrell won a bunch too, which is cool to
yeah,
see.
she won four.
Yeah, that's cool. Um,
Yeah.
and
I don't subscribe to that kind of thing because, you know, I mean, you watch that and it's just all the top
yeah,
people that the record companies push, you know. I feel like it's a lot of self-congratulatory stuff,
I
you
mean, I
know.
think
But
that's like all awards. Yeah, I feel similar.
yeah. But I was just, you know, and it's funny just, you know, hearing some of the things that had, you know, like Rolling Stones and all that. I'm like, okay, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
you know, I like the Rolling Stones, but I mean, aren't there some people that, you know,
yeah.
need to?
I mean, yeah. Award shows are. I don't know, I kind of just don't pay attention as much.
I
But
don't either. Like I said, I was just trolling social media this morning, and it was just, and some of it was amusing, some of it was like, oh, hey, Sierra, awesome,
yeah,
finally, you know,
yeah, yeah,
somebody, somebody good is getting recognition.
yeah. That's rare. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, yeah, but and then you know, very divisive. Beyonce,
Oh,
Cowboy Carter.
it's. I mean, yeah. People. It's funny how like it's so. Yeah. I don't care. It's like
Right. Hey, if you like it, you like it. If you
yeah,
don't, don't. You know, that's just how it is. You don't have to. You don't have to be mean about it, but
yeah, exactly.
it's whatever. So, but it's even like that. That even brings up an interesting conversation. Just like genres in general. You know, like some people. I mean, how do you feel about that? How do you feel being pushed into a box of a genre? Because I mean, kind of you've got a broad spectrum of your sound. I mean, you kind of lean a little country, a little southern rock, a little SoCal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
I
kind of like
mean,
your sound, I think. And do you feel weird being pushed into a genre?
um, it doesn't bother me. I mean, to me, I people ask me like, what is your genre? And I'm like, I don't. It's hard to describe
That's
because
rock and roll. That's what I would
yeah,
call it.
yeah, exactly. I'm like indie rock, Americana. It never bothers me just because I think people sometimes need a descriptor. So if they're gonna see like a Leroy show, it's not gonna be hip hop. So so I can.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, but like some people, they you know, like there was a young woman that I worked with recently, and she liked pop punk music, right? I called it skater rock in front
Okay,
of
yeah.
her, and she was like, "No, it's pop punk," and I'm like,
Oh,
"Okay."
hey, whoa.
And yeah, sorry, you know, and I'm like, some people that they really focus on that entirely, and I'm like, that's just like rock and roll. You play rock and roll to me, and that's
Yeah.
that's how I see it. But um, yeah, they got the genre wars though. Some people don't like being pigeonholed, and some people just like you just don't care. You know, I mean, it's
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes it can help, like it's interesting because I'll get a lot of country like festivals or country shows, whatever. And I don't know, maybe it's just me being like contrarian or something like that, but I feel like if I get a country show, I'll end up playing more rock stuff. And if I at a show, I'll play more country stuff. So it's like just this, I don't know what that is. It's just something that I find that I do. And um but I do have to say, like country, there's a lot more shows for that. So I had community here in Echo Park. They call it like the Grand Old Echo, which is cool. And it's like everyone, it's a country day, and it's so for us it's great because it gives us like a venue.
See, around here we get a fair amount of country shows, but we don't get. I don't know. We don't get a lot of stuff here. Like we get the big acts that go everywhere,
Yeah.
and then we get a lot of country acts, and then yeah, like I want to see Holy Wars. I want to see stuff like that here, but they just I don't know what it is. This market in this area of the country just doesn't subscribe to that for some reason. I can see where country would be a little more
Yeah.
prevalent.
Yeah.
But then there's also like around here, I'm sure, and I lived in Las Vegas for 2 years, like the early 2000s, and I was like amazed at how much like better radio was there.
I can see that. I see
Here
that.
it's
Makes sense. Yeah.
yeah, here in Indiana it's the same 10 songs every hour, no matter what station you go to, it seems like. And it's like I don't even listen to the radio anymore. I haven't for years. I just do streaming.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of, yeah.
Honestly, streaming for me is I mean that was science fiction for me when I was younger.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah. Nope, yeah.
you're sitting around going, man, I wish there was a place I could go where I had every song I wanted, and now it's possible, and it's taken over the world basically. I think. I mean, but it's also. Do you think streaming has helped you?
I do. I mean, there's a radio station out here, 95.5, that's been really helpful to us. And then there's another one called the KXLU, which is like at the college station, and they've been really helpful. They're like, if you put out a record, we'll play some stuff. And but streaming has helped us. I mean, again, it's one of those things where if we can play more shows and sell merch, that's kind of where our revenue comes from as opposed to streams. But if people are listening, I'd rather have them listen than not. So
right. Yeah, it's unfortunate streaming doesn't pay, what the other things do, but at the same time, I feel like for me, there's so much stuff I've discovered on streaming that I never would have, previously, and I love it. That's kind of my thing. I love discovering new stuff. I grew up in MTV. MTV was brand new when I was a kid, and I consumed it. I mean, just everything they put on there, and that grew my love of every kind of music.
Yeah, 'cause it was like a cultural phenomenon too, and it's just they don't do it anymore. There's no videos, like it's just reality
Anymore. No, unless you're like yourself, you're putting your own video up on YouTube or something. Yeah, there's no platform for that anymore.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, and it was and I loved it too because you could hear everything. I mean, they would play Hank Jr. and then the Cocteau Twins the next song,
Yeah.
and it's and then I would stay up late at night and watch like 120 minutes, with all the alternative and punk shit and all that. And MTV really shaped my musical taste.
Yes.
For me growing up, and this is another kind of ironic thing, is my mother listened to a lot of like Olivia Newton-John and Barbra Streisand and Carole King and Carly Simon and all that. So now, for whatever reason, I really love female artists.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's just in there,
Yeah.
But my dad, he would listen to stuff like stuff like the Eagles and stuff like that. And so I grew an appreciation for that as well,
I did both of it.
It's interesting how, what you listen to growing up, how it really, really, really shapes what you like later on in life.
I swear to God, I'm gonna lose it if I hear you play that music one more time. You say it makes you feel like singing, but come on, it's been repeating all night. Yeah. Oh, it's not that I
So you said you got some new stuff coming out.
I do. Yeah.
And you said about May you're gonna drop that.
Yeah. It's looking like that.
What is your writing process like?
I mean, it changes all the time, but I think for the most part, what I'll do is I'll usually kind of be jamming around, come up with a riff or something like that, chord progression, sing like gibberish over it, just random words, something that kind of sings well, and then I'll usually kind of take that, listen to it, and then start writing, you know, to sort of fit in there somewhere. And then some
Just
story.
kind of starting to hone it in a little bit.
Yeah,
So are you one of those guys where you just got a riff in your head all the time? You're taking a shower and you got a riff in your head, or
it's so sometimes, yeah, but other times I'm just like, you're like, I need to write something right now, and I think just the act of doing it, like I'll get up in the morning and play guitar, and just to like mess around, or like I'll write, I'll go to like a coffee shop or whatever just to get out of the house and
yeah.
write whatever, kind of come up with some stories, whatever, and and then refine them when I can.
And then do you like to take a lot of real life type stuff and kind of transpose it, or
Yeah, I mean, some of it is, based on that, and then, or like you get like a little piece of something, and then somehow a story develops, or like, it could be happening to a friend of yours, or, whatever the case may be. Um, yeah, some of it's like, probably starts there and then gets embellished probably.
how long would you say? I mean, I'm sure it's different every time, but how long would you say it takes you to probably hone in on something that you're like, yeah, that's what I want.
Some songs will go real quick, and then you're like, oh wow, that is really tight. Everything like makes sense, and I like how it sings. And others, definitely there's been a couple songs where it's taken like, a year, because you just like you put it down for a bit, and then you're like, maybe I'll come back with like fresh eyes, or fresh ears.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And do you find that those ones that go quick, do those seem to be some of the best, or
You know, kind of, because I think that sometimes there is just something that just sort of the process is so easy. I mean, sometimes they can just be like, you're like, it's like just sort of medium. Um, and also there's something about just getting a song done, and then you can be like, the song is done. I can always go back and, refine how I see, but for the most part, it's done.
but here's the second question. How much do you throw away?
Uh, Probably a lot, but I mean, I have like tons of voice. I just on my phone, like everywhere. Like I'm always recording stuff, and so I mean, my phone is just like way down with so much stuff. Um,
At capacity.
yeah, or like I'll write. I usually do it in a notebook. So I'll be like writing the same thing like over and over again. I find I'm like, oh, this song I've just been writing that for like 3 weeks straight, like the same. So I mean, I think it eventually comes back. I'm like, is that if I like the chord change or whatever it is, I'll sort of remember it. I think
Or come up with something different to add to it.
exactly. Yeah, I'm like, well, now it makes sense. Yeah,
Okay. I personally, I know nothing about making music. I just love hearing it. So
dude. Yeah,
I'm always fascinated by how people like yourself come up with stuff like that, because it's like, because man, when you hear finished products, I mean, that's some powerful shit sometimes. When you're like, man, how did that guy do that? That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. There's some writers that I've done co-writing sessions with, and I'm like, it just the stuff that rolls off so easily for them. It can be incredible. I'm like, how are you coming up with this stuff? It's so like just well said. It doesn't sound like you're trying too hard, and everything just sounds cool. And I'm like,
I know some guys. I mean,
yeah.
you got like Towns Van Zandt, man. Everything he wrote was just amazing.
I said, yeah, it's just like it's perfect. It's so well done.
Yeah, it was just yeah. He is definitely a loss to the community for sure. Yeah. Um, so have you written any songs for anyone else that?
I have, yeah. I mean, for various other bands I've done. I was doing a lot of stuff with this band, the Wild Feathers. We did a whole, writing session. And then, yeah, just people, around town. I'll do recording sessions and writing sessions, and
Yeah. Because I saw
I
that you
like,
did, was it, what's her name? Kendall Jane Mead?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you did a song with her. And that was, yeah, your fingerprints are all over that.
And she's really cool. She's a friend, or still is a friend of my older sister, and she came out to LA, and she's like, let's get together. I hadn't seen her in a long time, and it's been really fun just catching up and all that.
So, as a career musician, what's the brass ring for you? Where do you want it to go? Like,
I want it to be a thing where everybody, where we're touring, we're making a living, where it's consistent, and you can start doing your own thing. Where I think you start to like have the independence. I think that's kind of been the goal. And I think there's something about having a trio, which makes it a little easier because it's three of us. But I hate when you can do that and like, just tour comfortably, write, music that you're proud of, and tour with bands that you like to tour with that are cool.
so basically, as long as you're a profitable working musician and you get to do that for a living, that's kind of where you want to be, basically, right?
Yeah, that gold speedboats, jet skis, dune buggies,
Right.
whatever.
Champagne in a limo.
Exactly. I'm not pushing those away. I'm just
Well, some folks they're looking straight to the top. Do you know Rachel Brooke at all?
I just know the name. Yeah. Well,
She has a line in a song where she basically stated that you don't have to pay your dues, but you have to pay the bill to work in Nashville.
Yes, that is true.
And that's what I wanted to know. Is it like that? I mean, because it seems like some folks out there are kind of just paying the bill. And,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
so yeah.
I noticed that. Yeah, I mean, it's an easy thing to get caught in too, because you're just treading water. It's like you just go. It almost is like becomes like a 9 to 5 thing. It's that the goal is just to sort of get ahead and get some independence, I think.
Independent artists, I mean, I feel like you have it all on lock. I mean, you don't have to follow the rules. I mean, you guys are all outlaw, I mean,
yeah, I mean that's
according to the music business.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's the amount of people making their own music today without a record deal is just amazing. It's great. And in the past, you had to have that record deal for anyone to hear you. It seemed like, or if you were opening for a bigger act, you might get heard that way. But yeah, these days, independent artists are taking it over, I think. Yeah, there's a band I follow, Icon for Hire, and yeah, she just posted a thing where she was doing like a Q&A, and they asked her, if she had a label, and she's like, no, we don't. We do a Patreon, we sell merch, and she goes, anymore, we're losing money on touring, but yeah, she goes, we got 2 income sources, and that pays for the music, and she goes, we're not beholden to any label, and I'm like, that's pretty tight.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, because you're complete. Like, you don't have a record deal, right?
No, we've been talking to some people, but none of it has really made sense quite yet. So we're just doing our thing, and selling merch and selling music and playing.
I also noticed recently, like Charlie Crockett. Charlie Crockett has been fiercely independent for all these years, and he just signed a deal with Island, and I'm okay.
I think when it's funny when that happens, because they've been doing so well on their own, and then until it comes along and makes them a really, really good deal, then it obviously makes sense.
Yeah, it had to be. It has to be the offer you can't refuse, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, that's great for him. Yeah,
on his own, he was putting 2 records a year out, it seemed like.
Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
I I always say, the music business is the key word in that.
Gosh. Yeah. No, yeah, it is. Welcome to my world.
You talked about playing with certain bands. That's kind of a goal for you. And like when you played at the Ryman, was that the first time you'd played at the Ryman?
Yeah, first time I've been there. So that was
First time
really,
you'd ever even been there?
yeah.
Okay. And was that like kind of a bucket list thing, or a lot of folks
Pretty
it
cool.
is?
It was pretty cool. We were sort of a last minute addition, and you know, they're like, why do you just like you guys want to play the rhyme? I'm like, yes, we do. So so yeah, that was incredible. It was really cool. It sounded amazing. The crew there was really cool. And it was just a really fun night. Plus, you could go right out the back to Roberts, which I
Yeah.
didn't. That was the thing.
Yeah, Robert's Western World.
Yeah. So we just
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
You get that bologna sandwich.
I couldn't. We were just at the top part, but it was packed. It was almost too packed to get the sandwich.
Yeah, there was a day and age where Roberts wasn't packed a
Shit.
lot. That was one of the places you could get in and out of easily. But man, that whole Broadway scene down there, it's
Wild.
wild, right? And I mean, like I go down there now, and I just, oh god, I feel ancient. You know, like when they let all these teenagers in the
I mean,
bars.
it is. It looks like Vegas. I guess that's what they call it, Nash Vegas.
It does. It looks just like Vegas. Yeah, for sure. And it's crazy. But
Yeah.
so what other goals or key places or bands or what kind of
You
stuff
know,
is.
for us, I think it's just a matter of like just playing, starting to get like some momentum, playing more consistently. I think once everyone can, once we get a full schedule together, I think that'd be kind of cool. And like I said, Whitey's been really cool to us. We did a thing when I was opening, when I was playing with Nikki. She did a couple of shows opening for Chris Stapleton, and that was cool
Mm.
because I have friends that are in that band, so it's kind of cool to see them all,
Oh,
play so well. Yeah, and Lee, the keyboard player, we used to play with Shelby Lynn together, and out with this band Dawes for a while, and then now it's full time with Stapleton. And it's like just awesome to see, and that show is incredible. Like it's cool, it's rock, it's tough, it's dangerous. It was a really good one.
so what bands would you love to share the stage with, other like Whitey Moore?
We I've thought about this for a while, but I always thought it'd be cool to play with like open up for Stapleton or bands like The Cult or Blackberry Smoke. Um, Queens of Stone Age would be cool. Just like that kind of thing. I mean, would just be so much fun. I think we did an opening slot at one point for Midland, and that was really fun. Uh, and those guys are cool and friends of ours as well. And that was fun.
So, quick question. So, you know how Instagram will tell you, oh, you both follow these same, artists or whatever. And I noticed that you and I both follow a band called The Haunt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh man, so
So
you like The Haunt? Or do you know
no,
them folks or?
sort of. It was through that was like because a lot of the Dorothy, there's like a lot of crossover. So but yeah, they've been really cool, and like it seems like they're doing well. Like they're starting to playing a lot, which is cool.
I know they did a 3 show run there and they sold every show out. And I almost went to the Chicago show, but I just couldn't make it. And I was like, oh man, that would have been great because it
Yeah,
was in a tiny
cool.
little place. And but yeah, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's interesting. He likes The
Yeah,
Haunt.
yeah. No, it's so funny how like that happens. You just like you sort of there's like these through lines from just like playing in different bands and like friends and then like whatever. It just sort of goes in.
Because I mean, it really is a community, correct? I mean, you probably are. Because like I saw you played a show like in October with Sam Morrow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I played on so there were three records I think, two or three that I played on with Sam, and then we were touring with him like quite a bit. He's awesome.
Sam Morrow, yeah, he is awesome. I saw him. He opened for Taylor Honeycutt.
Right. Yeah.
at a show I went to. They both just killed it. I mean,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
burn it down.
Hey, he moved to Nashville not that long ago.
Yeah. You guys just got married too, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you? Wife, kids, anything like that?
No wife, no kids. You know, I've got a girlfriend and a dog. That's kind of
Dog, I heard you pooch.
yeah, yeah. He definitely lets people know he's around.
As a musician, you know, when you got kids and stuff, that makes touring harder. I can only imagine.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even with the dog, it's like you got to find a dog sitter, you got to do the whole thing. So
Right. Usually somebody will watch your dog.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like there's a guy. I'm probably going to have him on here as well. His name is Noah Freeman, and I saw him play, and he was like, you know, he was basically, he had a lot to say, you know, hey, you know, I'm up here, you know, I'm on the road, and he's in a folk band called Kindred Valley.
Okay.
And he's like, yeah, I'm in a band and we do okay, but you know, I got bills, so I'm out here on my solo now, you know. And I mean, he was laying it out like that for everyone. And he's like, I got a wife at home, I miss her terribly. And
Yeah.
and I mean, I kind of fell for the guy, you know.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure touring can be, I mean, waking up in a different city every day, and
Oh yeah. Yeah. It can be. You know, part of it is really fun and exciting. I mean, I always love it, and seeing a new city and checking it out. And but yeah, you can miss home.
so would you call yourself a rambling man?
I would. I mean, you know, it's funny. It's like before you go on tour, I feel like, you know, I'm like, oh, I don't want to go on tour. I'm gonna miss it so much. And then when you're out there, you're like, oh, I don't want to come home. Like it's just like it's sort of this like all this dance I always do, and it's like, but once I'm out there playing, like once you just get in the groove of everything, it's like that's my favorite.
What's the best place you ever played?
I mean, the Ryman's definitely up there. We did a lot of stuff with like Nikki, some cool venues, and Dorothy has a really good one as well. But I mean, to me, just off the top of my head, the Ryman was the coolest.
The Ryman is cool, and it's iconic because, you know, of what it is. And I know it's on a lot of people's you know, kind of bucket list as a place to play, but then at the same time, you look at it, you like look at the other shows that play there, and it's like it's just a music venue.
Yeah.
Pretty much typically. I mean, they got comedians and all that kind of stuff there too.
All right.
It's an interesting place for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a fun venue to go to for sure. And beware if you ever do and you go to the Ford Lounge.
Oh yeah.
They have a VIP upgrade there. It's called the Ford Lounge, and you pay $100 a head, and they've got food, top shelf booze. They give you a hatch print poster specific to the show and stuff. But man, you can get in your cup pretty quick there.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, Angel's Envy coming out.
Yeah, no question. But I mean, next time I'm there, I'll definitely have to like at least check it out.
Yeah. It's a fun place for sure. What's probably the worst place you ever played?
There's been a few that are, you know, we played bad shows. We've done like places that weren't set up with like proper like gear, like that kind of thing, and or you show up like, you know, no drums or something like that, and you're like, okay,
Just don't get paid or anything like that.
all of it. Like, I mean, so it just happens all the time. I mean, it did. At least we're trying to have it not happen as much.
And I'm sure that happens a lot more to, you know, more, you know, newer, more struggling bands. I mean, they probably get taken advantage of and stuff like that. And they have to play in the worst spots. But, yeah, I'm always curious about that. You know, like what's just the worst place, you know?
I mean, there's probably been, like, not off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's been some doozies, that's for sure.
I bet you got some stories for sure. So, well, I think we probably wrap it up here. You've been great to talk to. I totally appreciate you coming on here. I mean, this is brand new for me. I'm trying out something new, you know. So I know I ambushed you there at the merch table, and
No, I'm glad you did this because this has been great. So yeah.
Yeah, because I want to get the word out. I want to support, bands that are independent and, and get the word out for them. And, if I have any viewers, then they're viewing you. So that's kind of how I look at it. And
But
hopefully we can,
yes,
it works out for both of us. So
definitely. Yes.
again, I thank you for coming on,
Thanks,
and
Ray.
I hope you have a great day.